What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Hill Heat. Who better? Nobody.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa and welcome to True Hill Heat.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Hill Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for AEW Revolution 2025 preview. Breaking down this Sunday show from Los Angeles, California, as only we can. And to do that, we have an all-star panel here today. Thank you so much to the crew that is here, as per usual. Usually joining me here for all the reviews, all the previews, it seems like WWE, AEW, and yes, she is eating, unlike the last time she joined us, from coexisting with Rob on Fightful Overbooked. It is Maggie. How are you doing? Or she's still eating and she doesn't have the mic on. She's talking while the mic isn't on.
Sorry, I muted myself because I'm a professional and I don't want to be a CM Punk into the microphone. Okay? The mouthing and eating and, no. So I promised that I was going to eat before, because like last time that we were on a stream together, it was, I don't care what you think, but it was pretty good. It was money.
It was great.
It was me being cranky because I haven't eaten is money. But I decided to to eat. I'm gonna humor SP3 this time, and I'm eating a really expensive protein bar.
Really expensive too. Oh my god. You're
Expensive. Yeah.
You flaunting a little bit today. All right.
Yeah, that's Fightful money.
The good old Fightful money. Someone who knows about the good old Fightful money, or used to know, but now he knows about the Wrestle Purist, and he knows about the late night Grin funds. He is the main man over at the Late Night Grin, the main man in our hearts. And now he's finally back after his 2 pay-per-view hiatus. He owes us a lot of booking dates and booking. He has to pay his booking fees a little bit, but he's back to the territory known as True Hill Heat. Joe Hulbert, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've definitely ended lots of shows and afterwards said what Maggie said there, which is, I don't care what you think, it was pretty good. I say that after every show I do, I think. So I'm fired up. I'm excited to be. It's been a long time, because that means the last one we did was Wrestle Dream. right? Because it's been a big
Either
break.
Wrestle
So.
Dream or what? Oh yeah, did you because you had to bail on
I missed
Full
the
Gear,
last two.
so yeah.
This is that weird stretch. They have the longer gap between papes, but I'm happy to be here. What's funny about this is I'm not really in the loop on what we're going to be talking about in the sense that I'm like semi-retired now, but because I owe the booking fees, because you book my flight and all that comes with that, the hotel, I'm here out of like respect for the promotion. So I'm just kind of here for vibes, really. Which I mean, that's the way it should be, right? So.
As always, you always bring the good vibes here. We always appreciate you for doing
sometimes.
That,
yes, sometimes.
Yeah, this is the first time that Joe and I are on the screen together, and I'm really, really happy about that because it took 5 years. Yeah, I'm in the business for in 5 years. Better late than never. I'm so glad to see you, Joe.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to hear. This is the first time everyone's ever said like, it took me 5 years. Usually it took me years to get away from him. That's usually the podcaster approach. Oh my God, I had to do shows with Hulbert, and then eventually, after 5 years, they let me do something else, But that's nice to hear. I'm glad to be here also.
It's like Jeremy purposely got sick yesterday because he knew I was going to make a mistake. And Joe instead of Joe Hulbert, I put instead of Joe Pearl, I put Joe Hulbert, and he knew that in advance. So.
He did. I need to come back on when it's the front, the starting lineup. I need to be on there. With respect to Joel Pearl, it'd be cool, right? We could do some. We could maybe talk about wrestling or something.
The world.
We could probably talk about basketball for a few hours, like we used to do on the distraction. Whenever you guys had me on there.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
Joe
we appreciate
is
y'all.
the worst Fightful champion in the history of Fightful champions. The worst one. He never
Me?
Taking a shot at Joel?
No, Joel.
Oh, Joel. I was going to say I was never the champion.
I'm always confused. He was like, I didn't even know if I caught the L or not.
No. By the way, I see that you updated your background with more of your, I'm talking to SP3 about his drawings.
Oh, well, I have too. Now I feel left out. I have Psycho behind me. It's been a long time, Maggie. All right, fine. I see how it is. But I was never the Fightful champion. Joel Pearl apparently is a bad Fightful champion.
Yes.
I never got a push at that level. I never got the push up there, the big world title. I didn't get that, unfortunately. But
he never defends that championship. I mean, just like what the hell? So, Joe, are you pissed off about All In being in? Oh, yeah, in general, yeah. Yes.
He's like, yeah. I don't know what the rest of that question was, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm chronically pissed off myself, so that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So about All In being in Texas, because I feel like All In is our thing. By our, I mean European thing, and I'm pissed off because they're gonna give that amazing card this year, and they're gonna have it in Texas, and I'm really, really pissed off.
I'm torn because everything you said is true, but then I don't have to worry about that feeling of should I or shouldn't I go, which is also a problem. But then again, we should have Forbidden Door, right? So apparently we have Forbidden Door. I think we have Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
in London,
we have Forbidden Door.
Yeah, which I think will be a good show. But I'm with you. It is it's pretty sad. It's pretty rough.
We're gonna get Athena versus Mercedes Moné. Hopefully, Athena dethroning Mercedes, and then we're gonna get Okada Omega. And I'm like, I fucking hate you, Texas. I already disliked you previously, but now I have stronger feelings.
Yeah, this is the worst thing Texas has ever done.
Yeah, forget about everything else. This
is it.
Forget about the Alamo. Forget about them voting for Trump twice. All of it, Texas is the worst. This is the worst thing they've ever done. Hey, I'm right there with you. I'm a part of this conversation too, because I'm in the UK. I'm back in the UK. I'm one of you. I'm one of you guys. Honorary Oos or honorary Brit, I guess you can call it. I don't know.
I guess.
But yeah, this was the newest edition my daughter gave me. It's a picture of Ginger, and then she wrote "Poor Dada." So today's her birthday. Shout outs to Harlem.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So yes, like I said, it's Harlem and Sydney's birthday. So show some love in the chat for that, and show some love for the special guest that we got on the show today. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on AEW Revolution, all your predictions. If you have some wild takes, we're known for our wild predictions, even though not so wild. I let it be known earlier in the week, Maggie, that when we last time we did a
okay,
preview,
you're a loudmouth. Okay.
I told Jimmy Baccarat yesterday, it's a week-long victory lap that I'm taking because not a lot of people. I seen all these YouTube channels like of 100,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers and all that. They were like, "Oh my god, I was so shocked." They were like, "Oh, no one predicted it was gonna happen." I was like, they don't watch True Hill Heat. They don't watch True Hill Heat. They didn't watch Fightful because I was over there. I was on Wrestle Talk saying it the night after Rock returned. I said John Cena's going to be the corporate champ. I even tried to tell you it was going to happen at WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer reported today. He clarified my report. See, I wasn't giving a prediction. I was giving a spoiler. I'm part of the John Cena group chat, and he let me know in advance because he follows me on Twitter. So he let me know. He answered my DMs, not Kate's, but he answered mine. So I did predict that. So thank you to I think it was I Make Beats in the chat who said the last stream with Maggie was great. SP3 was talking some craziness about John Cena turning heel, as if that would ever happen. You know.
Who'd have thought?
I'm pretty good. I know you've been doing a lot of predictions with me, Joel, but you know I'm pretty good at this prediction thing. You know.
You are, yeah. You're much better than I am. I thought it was... I didn't think they knew what was going to happen yet. Which they may not have, actually. You may have known before them, but nonetheless, it was quite the happening. That is obviously not our topic, but I must say that was wild, right? Good Lord.
It's going to be tough for anything to be the moment of the year over that. Like, that's the moment of the year already, in March.
So is this victory lap going to take a while? Because I can go make a casserole. It's like...
No, because we must tell everyone if you sound off in the live chat, and if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that we see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate your support. Like our good brother Chuck Berries, thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support and sending some love to dear old Harlem, one of our faces over here on True Hill Heat. He says a little birthday gift for your girl Harlem. Happy birthday. Show some love for Sydney SP4 as well. You know, show some love for him as well. Thank you guys. Negro Buck says happy birthday Harlem and Sydney. We also got a couple of folks in the chat excited to see some stuff today. Say hello THH friends. Another pay-per-view weekend. Let's get it. We also got says SP3, did you watch watch Evolve yet? I just got done watching it. I thought it was a lot of fun. That elbow from Cappuccino Jones was crazy. I did actually watch the Evolve show. It's basically the new Evolve show is basically like NXT from like when it first started on the WWE network. It's basically that. Just said that was the type of reaction I needed here. We also got big fat orange cat who says happy to see Mr. Hulbert making the towns. Look at you always have your fan base. Your fan base follows you wherever you go, sir.
Yeah, it's dwindling, but there's a few of them still hanging on, and well, I'll get to running those off here sooner than later. Don't worry about it. I'll fix that for you. But I'm always making towns. I'm always trying my best. A lot of the towns are now just my own ones, just going in circles. But, you know, we had the Fightful thing yesterday, right? So this is like a big show for the Fightful brand because we're all here. You know, I'm a big star now. I was back on there yesterday. Big cameo. I felt like, you know when they do those shitty episodes of Raw, like the Raw reunion? and they have the guys come out and wave at the fans.
Oh.
That's what I was yesterday.
It was like the Raw on Netflix premiere all over again.
Yeah.
All
Oh
over
my
again.
God,
Just,
no.
hey guys, I'm here, just here for today.
Yep.
Very
Stop
nice.
it.
Very nice. But yeah, so we got a couple of matches to discuss, a couple of happenings that might happen on Sunday. So we'll give your predictions for AEW Revolution in the live chat. We'll start with Maggie here. You know how we do for these pay-per-view previews. 0 to 10. What is your anticipation level? How excited are you for this Sunday's Revolution?
10. We've always discussed this on these predictions. I know the entire world hates it, but I love a good Sunday pay-per-view because I get to watch it early in the morning on a Monday with my coffee, and I work every Monday. I work the night shift, so I have all day free. And when the pay-per-views are on Saturday, I have to get up really, really early in the morning on a Sunday to watch the show and then straight up go to work. And that sucks because I cannot get into it properly. So Sunday pay-per-views are the best for me. I love them. And also we got a lot of amazing matches on the card. And I feel like every Revolution pay-per-view is legitimately one of the best pay-per-views of the year for me. And I'm just, it's point of principle at this point. And I'm looking forward to each and every Revolution pay-per-view. Are you guys as hyped as I am about this?
Well,
I'm gonna probably have a pretty high number, but we'll go to Joe first. With 0 to 10, where you at?
I'm very high too. I'm not quite as high, but I would say, because again, I'm kind of slightly out of the loop with the TV and such, but just based on the quality of the card, I would say I'm at like, an 8 maybe. Just because the on match quality, this should be a great show, right? I always have a little bit of concerns when it's very singles match heavy, and we saw that with Full Gear. Like, that was a good show, but there was a lot of long singles matches one after another, and I think that can be challenging sometimes from a pacing point of view. So that is a slight concern. I'm also not super jazzed up about the main event, what we presume to be the main event with Mox and Cope. So those are two kind of, I guess, things to circle as potential issues. But I mean, the rest of the card looks tremendous and it's very, very deep. So I'd say an 8 just on talent alone.
I mean, that main event,
That, just when I'm
the thing that is on, the poster for Revolution is the match I'm looking forward to the least.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. That's why I can't go as far as a 10 out of 10. But before I give mine, we got one more person joining us, a face that you usually see here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel when we're talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. But yes, he dabbles in the All Elite Wrestling as well. The good brother Jay News is here. Thank you, Jay News, joining us today. How you feeling?
Alive. It's been a rough week, but I am here. My apologies for the lateness. And AEW talk. I'm all for it. Revolution's on Sunday, right? Am I mistaken by saying that? Revolution's on Sunday. Where have you guys, or what have you guys talked about so far?
Oh, we're just going around 0 to 10. What's your anticipation level for the Revolution card on Sunday?
I'm at a good. I've been liking everything so far. What's been going on at least the last 2 months and whatnot, Tony Stronghold and all that jazz. So I'm at a good 9 right now. I'm really excited for mostly everything on the card. They've done a good, I wouldn't say complete pivot, but they've done a good job of doing what they could with the Death Rider storyline, making it like roundabout, not complete loss with it. And everything else I think has been spot on. Like MJF and Hangman Page is their storylines and feuds been great. I think what that last sit down interview between Toni and Mariah was amazing to me. So I think that the ladies are on good footing going into Revolution. I'm excited for mostly everything, man. So I'm at a 9.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as J News. I'm at a 9 because there's like I think there's like
You
5
guys suck.
matches. But there's 5 matches on the main card that I'm like legit. I think could be match of the night or match of the year candidates potentially. So that's why I'm at a strong 9. But yeah, the Death Rider storyline has gotten better over the last couple of weeks. I think the segment with Willow Nightingale was the best thing they've done with the Death Riders since like probably Wrestle Dream, the end of Wrestle Dream, that sad ending when they murdered Bryan Danielson. So I like that segment, and they've kind of focused in on different stuff with the Death Riders where I'm not completely disgusted by that. So that's why I'm at a high 9 out of 10 for the show. And at least there's no Jericho on the show, like Nikki Boy said.
Oh my God,
that makes
yes. That is why it's a 10. That is why it is so easy. You guys don't get it. Like, no Jericho on the pay-per-view, that's an instant 3 points up. So it should be 12.
Okay, I'll get at a 9 out of 10. I'll get up from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 if they confirm that Nigel and Ian Riccaboni are going to be on commentary the whole night.
Please, with the Excalibur, that's the best.
Excalibur's hit or miss for me.
Stop it.
He's hit or miss for me. He's hit or miss for me. So you know, I'm kind of over the Dynamite, the usual Dynamite team of Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Daz.
You know, I'm reconsidering our shows, SP3.
Fair. That is fair. But yes, we got a couple of people commenting. So Big Man Dog says, my only concern is that there's like 8 singles matches, but this will likely be the best show in a long time. I agree with what Maggie said earlier. Revolution is traditionally their best show of the year. I was there live for Sting's retirement last year. That was my show of the year. The year before that, in 2023, we had the Iron Man match and the House of Black versus the Elite Trios matchup. That was one of the best shows of that year. 2022, it was the show of the year with the CM Punk MJF dog collar match and Hangman versus Adam Cole. And it had actually a great Chris Jericho match with Eddie Kingston on that show as well, which is an outlier to what Jericho usually gives us. So it has the tradition of being the best show of the year. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. So let's get into these matches. We're going to start off with the 0 Hour as they added a matchup, announced the matchup in advance for that, as we're going to get Big Boom AJ of the Costco guys making his return to in-ring action for the first time since the aforementioned Full Gear. And this time he's a Big Justice in their corner as they face Johnny TV and MXM Collection. This was all set up on Collision as Johnny TV got in Big Boom AJ's face, made the challenge for a trios matchup after Big Boom AJ and the Costco guys got into it with MXM Collection on social media. So we got a trios matchup here. This is just to pop the crowd and get some people who like TikTok to watch Revolution. So should be inoffensive. We'll start with Maggie. Who you think wins?
Yeah, this match can go fuck itself because I don't care. Move on.
So you're going for a no contest. A no contest.
So when I said that I'm excited for the show, I meant the main card. So just move on.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. Oh, Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I don't feel that strongly on about it. I think it'll be fun. You know, I mean, there'll be some novelty to Big Boom AJ interacting with Mark Briscoe and so on and so forth. It's to me, this is like ideal pre-show fare because it's just light and it won't burn out the crowd for anything that's important later on in the show. And there is an audience that wants to see it. You get to, they see it before the main show. Maybe it sells on the show. I doubt that it does that for a lot of people, but maybe, right? So I I have no issue with this. I presume the babyfaces. I mean, I don't presume the babyfaces obviously are winning here, right? You can't have Johnny TV pinning Big Boom AJ to set up a big feud. So I think they'll be, they'll be winning here. I'm pretty sure.
This is why I hate this match, because MXM Collection are my favorite. They're so stupid and goofy. I love them, and they're gonna lose. And this is just dumb. This is bad TV.
Well, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people who tell you this stole the show, like they said Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall stole the show at Full Gear.
Just stop imagining things. You're just making things up. Okay? Calm down. Go.
Nope.
Just go have sex. Okay? This was not good. This was.
This is exactly why we have Maggie on these shows, folks. Jay News, what about you? Who you got for the 0 Hour Trios match?
Well, I must say this is quite the introduction to Maggie for me. But I will say my how can I say my feelings are not as strong about this match as Maggie's are. So I'll just say it's there, right? I'm with Joe here. I think that that baby faces win here. Big Boom AJ and the kids, and they'll do their stuff. I'm with Maggie though as well. Goofy wrestling for life. At the end of the day, I love MXM Collection. They're a great part of AEW and what they do with the funny stuff. I wonder what they will come up with in this match for the shits and the giggles. So that I'll be paying attention to. Outside of that, this came about rather quickly. Like it popped up on TV like last week, right? It wasn't anything that was being built to. So yeah, it gives everybody on this match something to do, and the Good Brothers are getting paid, and that's what I'm about. You know me, SP3. As long as Gat's getting paid, I'm good for it, man. I'm good for it.
Yeah, I'm going with the Big Boom conglomeration to get the win and pop the people in Los Angeles, which I'm sure they will. And I will say, AJ does a good job of promotion. He's done a good job promoting.
Mm-hmm. He's great. He's a great marketing guy, and he does it for the love.
Maggie looks so disgusted. So we will move on to a matchup that I'm sure Maggie will feel much better about, which I think will probably be the opener of this Sunday's main card, as it's going to be two former AEW world champions clashing for only the second time in the 6 years that they have been a part of All Elite Wrestling. As we
Let
will
me
have
prove my point.
We have MJF looking to prove his point as he goes one-on-one with Hangman Adam Page. These two men had crossed paths with one another early on in the year. They kept going past each other, whether it was in the ring or in the backstage area. Hangman having to deal with Christopher Daniels, his former friend and mentor, after taking care of him at Maximum Carnage and ending his career in a Texas death match. He had to come across MJF, who was also dealing with some veterans of his own, getting wins over Dustin Rhodes, and basically talking Jeff Jarrett out of storylines. These two guys really started their rivalry proper with the face-to-face showdown that they had a couple of weeks ago, where MJF really got to the crust of their issue with his jealousy of the fans seemingly forgiving Hangman Adam Page for every disgusting and deplorable thing that he did in the rivalry with Swerve Strickland, while MJF has become the number one heel once again to the fans, and they feel like he is irredeemable, while Hangman is on his redemption arc that led to the little segment on Dynamite this week, where Hangman Adam Page tried to run down MJF, and MJF proceeded to try to set Hangman Page on fire. These are two of the best characters and talkers and wrestlers in AEW here. And I love that MJF just said it flat out, that the fans have this kind of mantra that Hangman is the main character. He is the main protagonist of All Elite Wrestling, whereas MJF, he is definitely the main antagonist antagonist of all Elite Wrestling. So we have the #1 babyface of the 6 years, the first homegrown world heavyweight champion in Hangman Adam Page, and then you have the first ever homegrown heel champion in MJF, and now they clash here at Revolution. Joe, what have you thought about the build to this matchup? Who do you think wins on Sunday?
It's been tremendous. I mean, it's been great to see MJF like do something of real significance again, right? That close to 2024 was pretty rough for his standards. I mean, some of the work was good, but like it was way overshadowed by just how much the Cole conflict kind of dragged on, and you had the Roddy beat and so on and so forth. So it's been great to see him like visibly get into something again and be inspired by something and be excited about something. And his performance has been great. Hangman, there's something nothing new in that regards. Like, this is what he thrives upon, right? These direct conflicts, same as Max. And these are two guys, as you just laid out, they're kind of made for one another in a lot of ways. And they've waited a long time to get to this. And they're proving it worth the wait. The finish of this is really interesting. I think Max wins, but in a fashion that advances their angle. Now, the reason I find it interesting is both finishes can develop the story, right? Because Max losing, I mean, we saw the state he was in this past week's TV. Can you imagine what he'll be like, if he loses here, right? So I'm kind of torn in that way. I think Max is going to win via some sort of shenanigans, but I mean, I think the match will be great. Both guys' track record would suggest that, and they've got the program to go with it. So this has been a real highlight of AEW TV lately.
Absolutely agree with everything you said there. So I'm going to give my prediction. I think MJF wins via fireball to the face. Since we didn't get the fire on Wednesday, we get it on Sunday at the pay-per-view. And it'll probably referee Rick Knox because he never sees anything in the matchup. So it's easier for MJF to get away with it.
So
Maggie.
You're giving MJF the wizard gimmick? Is this what you're doing?
No, but we have to have some type of fire. We have to have a fire. We have to have some type of fire.
Come on.
It doesn't matter. Not only wizards. Have you seen other? I've seen other fireballs besides Chris Jericho in pro wrestling, sir.
But that was the last time there was a fireball in AEW. It came from the wizard.
I try to forget every other gimmick that Chris Jericho has done in the 6 years that he's been in AEW. I just want to stick with a little bit of the bubbly. That was the only one that worked for me. But Maggie, we'll go to you next. Who do you think wins, MJF or Hangman?
See, the fireball will be in my pants because, oh my God, this match. This is just give me more. Tell me why Hangman is the best character in AEW. He's the most complete character in AEW. And if we look at AEW as a TV show, which is a TV show, but like if it's a soap opera, Hangman is the main character. Like he may not be the character that the show evolves around 24/7 all the time, but he's the most benefited character from AEW. And I love this because there's so many layers and layers from everything that he's been doing. And it's almost as if he's justified in everything that he did wrong. In all of his heel work, he was justified. And I feel like because you have to look at this entire thing as Hangman's redemption story. And the last stop will be him burying the hatchet with Swerve. But this is a long time coming. But like it's far, far away in the future. So he needs to lose this match, particularly. But the story is so there, man. It's so good. It's really hard not to care about anything that Hangman is involved with. And with each and every feud that MJF has had on AEW, his best feuds are with people that he's jealous of because of the fans' love.
Yeah,
Will Ospreay was there, and now with Hangman, it's just the best, man. I cannot wait for this match. It's two homegrown talents, and I know that you can look at Hangman as the stuff he did with the Ring of Honor and in New Japan and everything, but he is homegrown to me.
Yeah.
Zero disrespect towards Ring of Honor, and I mean it.
No, you're absolutely right, because they really, in the first 2 years of AEW, they tore down everything that we knew of Hangman from his time in Ring of Honor
exactly
and New Japan, and made him into his own character here.
Yeah, they piggybacked off of a lot of stuff that they did over at Ring of Honor, the Hung Bucks and everything. But it was a pretty good foundation to build stuff on. And Maxwell shouting, "Let me prove my point," this was just the best, because the point that he wanted to prove was him doing exactly what Hangman did and people booing him while they were cheering Hangman. And this is what drives MJF crazy every time. And this is where I mentioned something, because SP3 was on the post show with Alex Palowski this week. And it's so adorable watching SP3 on post shows on Fightful, because they're in real time after the show is done. And SP3 is in the UK, and his family is sleeping, and he cannot be loud, and he needs to be really, really quiet. And I'm like, this is the best, because you have to mask your emotions, and it is the most wonderful and wholesome thing, because here on on True Heel Heat, when you're doing the show at reasonable time for Europe and the rest of the world, is really different, because you get to be you and be emotional and shout and rant, and you don't do that on Fightful, and that's sad.
Damn, that's kind of a burial.
No, I did, Joe.
I know what you were going for, but you kind of just buried him. said you were phoning in on the. He said the light. Maggie just said the lights were too bright.
I love Maggie shooting on me. She's shooting on me.
And it wasn't the intentional.
I didn't mean it like that.
Your intention was very wholesome, but you concluded with "It's sad how bad you suck on those shows, dude. Fix it."
No, I didn't mean it that way. I meant it was sad that he couldn't be emotional. Damn it!
That was perfect. That was the perfect.
It was great.
That was a perfect. It was perfect. I love it.
I love you, Speedy. That's not what I meant.
Love you too. J News, who you got? MJF, Hangman. What have you thought about the build to the matchup? And you can bury me as well.
Oh man, I've always brothered you softly, man. No real barrels here. But at the end of the day, I thought that the build up to this match has been, it's been intense at times. It's been, I don't know where it's gonna go at times. It's been typical MJF shit at times. It's been, yeah, that's Hanger right there at times. It's giving me all the emotions. So I think it's done a good job of being what it's supposed to be, which is really the two, like you stated earlier, the two faces of each side of AEW at this point in time, right? Very complex, very interesting characters that AEW has developed since its inception. No matter what anybody tells you, at the end of the day, I don't know where this goes though, right? There's no title on the line. There's no the stakes feel high, but if one of them loses, who really loses? You understand what I'm saying? So it's it's for the fans really, which is what AEW's always been about. So that I'm all about it. I just wonder what the outcome of the match is going to bring for the future. That's really more or less the guiding light, to use a lesser phrase, for this match. It's going to be violent. I know that for sure. Will we see fire? Maybe. I think fire will be set to a table and somebody will go through it. I think that's probably the safest. That's probably the safest way we can use fire in this match.
I want to see Hangman walking around like Sandman back in 1993, where he's just blinded. He's got the two blind eye patch, and he has to be guided to the ring by his wife and stuff. Be perfect.
Oh man, you know what, man? We shall see. But if I gotta pick somebody, just based on where it's been going, I'll probably go with Max for this match. I'll go with Max in this match, just because I feel like Hanger still has another level of like bottoming out to do before he really rises to the top of the card again.
Even though I think I mentioned this on the Fightful AEW Dynamite post show, Hangman has not won on pay-per-view since All Out, since trying to murder Swerve Strickland. He has not won on pay-per-view, while Max always wins on pay-per-view. So I think the easy bet is to go with Max here. And we all know Hangman, he never holds a grudge when he can't beat someone, right? You know? He doesn't go and try to burn down their house or anything like that.
No. That was a one-time thing. It was an accident, really. You know, he was in front of someone's house drinking some bourbon.
He
didn't mean to do it. You know,
right? He did nothing wrong.
It's a simple mistake. Okay.
You know, he forgot that alcohol is flammable. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he dropped it, and you know, who knew?
Sounds about right. Nikki Boy says, hey, when are we going to get Maggie for the flagship show? Because she's a freaking riot. Whenever Maggie is free on a Saturday, she just has to let me know, and we'll book her. I heard her booking fees are higher on Saturdays, so we've been staying away from her. Her booking fees are higher on Saturdays, so when she finally has that one Saturday of the year that she has off, we'll have her on the flagship show, and she'll go rant for rant with Chrissy Love. Just have Chrissy talk about Tessa, and then Maggie talk about anything. Almost anything. Anything, yes, anything.
Maggie can do a full review of SP3's Fightful output.
That's what I want. We need that to be a show. I love.
You can pull it up on screen and you can watch it together.
Big Man Dog says, so Fightful SP3 is an edgy indie wrestler going to WWE.
This. It's as if you think that Fightful needs decorum or something.
Fair.
I'm doing a show with Alex Pulowski. So I have to be like a balance to that. So if I'm doing a show with Kate, you get a little bit more fired up SP3. Yeah. If I'm doing a show with Mr. Sour Graps, I'm gonna let him be the sour, and I'm just trying to balance things out.
That's good psychology. Like with Kate, you know, you do a tope. You know, with Alex, you grab a hold. I like it. I see what you're talking about. I get it.
Exactly.
It's as if Rob stops being horny on the show because I'm there, and I'm horny for both of us. That's not the thing.
That's a different conversation for a different show, I think.
I don't know where this show is going anymore, but we do have a super chat donation. Thank you so much. Meet Normus has joined us. Thank you so much. He says, hello, bruvs. I think we at least getting Hanger through a flaming table. So he's with J News here. If not, just getting set on fire. This will be an all-time holy shit moment, bruv. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Love Joel putting me over for my psychology. This is the best preview that I've done in a while.
You have to adjust. Now you have to adjust. Different crowds, different buildings.
Now we have a match that I don't think we're gonna have as much to say about as we were the last one. We have the Hurt Syndicate will be defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Outrunners. The Hurt Syndicate looked like they were on their way to facing the Murder Machines at this pay-per-view, but the Murder Machines had to beat a real tag team. And when they went against a real tag team on last week's AEW Dynamite, due to entrance music distraction, they lost to the Outrunners via roll-up. So now the Outrunners get their title opportunity. First time AEW World Tag Team title shot on pay-per-view, and the first time the Hurt Syndicate as a unit will be on pay-per-view, and the first time Shelton Benjamin will be on pay-per-view since 2021. That's why he has that goofy smile on his face. This popped me. The first time I saw this graphic, this render, I was like, why does Shelton look more goofy than the Outrunners? That's the part that popped me in this one. We'll start with Maggie because she seems so enthused to talk about this. Maggie, what do you think wins on Sunday?
Okay. There's wholesome, amazing, funny, entertaining, goofy stuff like MXM Collection. And then there are the Outrunners that just fucking die, okay? I hate the Outrunners so fucking much. This whole gimmick can die in a fire. And I wouldn't give a motherfucking hoot about it. This sucks. I hate it. Everything that fucking reminds me of Hulk Hogan can go have painful anal sex with itself. Just stop it. It's 2025 and I do not need this. I do not need this on my television. And I do not need Murder Machine losing to the Outrunners from a freaking music distraction. Like they have the whole they're burying the arena, okay? So like there's people cheering and booing and making noise all night long, man. And then music hits and they're like, oh. What? No, just what kind of stupid shit is this? Like fucking wank-stained losers that are the Outrunners are gonna challenge the Hurt Syndicate at a pay-per-view that's probably one of my favorite pay-per-views in the world for AEW, and they're gonna be on the card. No, fuck that. Hopefully this is a 2-minute squash because this match fucking sucks. How are you guys feeling about this match?
News. We'll go to you next. You have to follow that.
Thank you.
You know, it's rare when I tell you I got nothing, you know, but I got nothing. I got nothing. You know, I am a lover and I revel in 80s nostalgia because I was born in the 80s.
Me too.
So I love looking at the Zubaz and the old VHS like, you know, stuff on the screen and I just, you know, I fit the Outrunners in the same frame as MXM Collection. They're just goofy wrestling comedy guys. But, you know, I understand where Maggie's coming from with the whole Hulk Hogan feel of things, you know. I get all that. I respect where she's coming from. I just, you know, I don't hate anything that much enough to have that fervor that she has for this. I think it'll probably be solid enough. I don't think it'll be a complete squash. They'll get some offense in, but it'll probably be the shortest match of the night. I'll go with that. I'll go with that. Yeah.
By the way, just to be completely 100% clear, I want the gimmick to die, not the wrestlers. Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Good clarification. Yeah, that's good clarification.
That was good. That was a good addition. Yes. Maggie has given us 3 promo of the year candidates already, and we're only 3 matches in. Joe, who you got? Her Syndicate and Outrunners.
I mean, it feels like overkill to say I'm not a huge Outrunners fan after all that's been said, so I'll just say I think I think it will be like, I agree with the take. It's kind of an extended squash. I think you give the Outrunners one big hope spot, right? That the people pop for, like a roll up or something. But the Hurt Syndicate are winning. The crowd dynamic for this will be fun because the crowds just cheer the Hurt Syndicate and they do nothing to try and change that. They just revel in it and go, hell yeah, we're awesome. So this may be a fun atmosphere. I think the match will be pretty short and kind of an extended squash.
Yeah, I'm hoping for like 5 minutes or shorter. Her Syndicate beats them up for 2-3 minutes. Outrunners get some hope spots, and then they promptly lose. That's what I'm looking for.
Listen,
here.
I was pissed off that it took so long for Gunther to beat Otis on this week's Raw. Don't make me pull out the hairs in my nose from anger watching this match. Or maybe do if there are a lot. So
it would be helpful, right? But we have a match here that I think is really going to be dictated how good this is going to be. I think it's going to be good, but I think it's going to be dictated how good it's going to be by how much the crowd is invested in this one. But you got for the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné defends against Stardom's Momo Watanabe. Momo and Mercedes had a match over the NJPW Strong Women's Championship last summer in New Japan Pro Wrestling at Capital Collision. That was an excellent matchup. Momo went on to basically win the International Women's Cup at Wrestle Dynasty, pinning Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena. And now Momo is basically getting that title opportunity where she had a title shot at any title of her choosing across all 4 promotions that were involved in the 4-way finals, and she chose Mercedes Moné once again, but this time going after the TBS Championship. Mercedes has been very cocky since her win over Harley Cameron back at Grand Slam, but Momo is someone that she has shown some fear of, even running away from her when she had a bat after she threw some water into Billy Stark's face. Have not got the most build into this matchup. This will be a matchup which is Mercedes special. When the bell rings, she becomes great. When the other bell rings, it's up and down usually with Mercedes. But I think when the bell rings on Sunday, this will be very good. Joe, who you got? Mercedes, Momo.
Definitely got Mercedes to win. I think we're all going to agree on that. But yeah, to your point, because of the lack of kind of TV time devoted to this and just Momo's general, like the audience is not super familiar, right? There's not been a ton of TV time for her in general. I think this would benefit from going early, to be honest. I think that would be a good fit. I actually would honestly like to see this as the opener. On a show with so many singles matches, this having such limited build, I think it needs a fresh crowd. The work will be tremendous, right? I don't think we have any doubts about that, especially because Mercedes has been such a good rhythm in the last, it's been 4 or 5 months, right? She's kind of got herself really rolling and she's looked like the Mercedes of old, which is not a surprise to me. It just takes some time sometimes. So I have no doubt about the quality of the work. I do have some questions about how well the match will get over, which I think we're all kind of questioning. But I'd like to see it go early in the show, and I think if it does, it could rock the house. But I've got Mercedes winning for sure.
Yeah, this is very similar. I think one of the last previews we did with All Out, and we were talking about that BCC versus Young Bucks match. We were like, if it goes early in the show, it'll be good. And it wound up going early, and it was good. And I think with this one, yeah, this should be like your first, second, third matchup on the card, and it will deliver. Maggie, who you got here?
Okay, first of all, why is Caden here in the chat? I'm already even more pissed off now. And second of all, I feel like this... Hi, Caden. I feel like this should open the card because let the women cook for a change from the very get-go. Just let them be. Like, we've already had, women. I'm just gonna go ahead and count Grand Slam as a pay-per-view. I know it was not, but it felt like that. So they already had that as a main event. They've had main events for Collision and for Dynamite and everything. So now let's open up the card with a women's match. This match is gonna hump. People are gonna get familiarized. You know what I'm saying with Momo. Thank you. I'm not even gonna try with Momo, and I'm excited for the world to see what New Japan stars can do.
Absolutely. What about you, J News? We actually covered Capital Collision and talked about that Momo Mercedes matchup the first time last year in New Japan, and we said Momo's one of the most talented, especially with her moveset that she shows off in Stardom usually. J News, who you got on Sunday?
I mean, it's more or less inevitable that Mercedes wins the match at this point, just because it's for the TBS Championship and Momo's not an AEW talent. All the legal stuff. The match part of it is where they have to deliver. And yes, I agree with the fact that the match has to go on early, just because there's not too much investment in this particular match. But what's been going on the build in this match is where the investment will follow for Mercedes, hopefully. So if Tony Khan's got his hat on right, like he seems to, we're going down the right path to All In for Mercedes Moné and our forever ROH champion, hopefully. So that is what I hope to see. But with this Momo match, they'll have another banger. I thought at this point we were going to see, because it's March, so by now I thought we were going to see Mercedes versus Micah, but that doesn't seem to be happening until later. So we're gonna get this rematch. It's gonna be great. I don't doubt that these two ladies are gonna do what they have to do. I just wonder how the fans in LA will react to this, really, because I guess I don't know if it's a personal bias or just my experience with watching LA crowds over the year. Like, they've never been the hottest of crowds, right? When it comes to certain parts of Los Angeles, right? There's a hardcore base in Los Angeles, and then there's a very laid back base in Los Angeles. So depending as to where they are, being that it's crypto, right? I'm not too sure how over this match will go, but I'm sure the ladies will do a good job. But if the crowd's not into it, then it might not be the best look.
Yeah, the biggest disservice this can get is going later in the card. I agree with that. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's unanimous. I'm going with Mercedes Moné as well. But in another kind of on the men's side of thing, title match that doesn't have a lot of storyline investment in it, we got Kazuchika Okada. He will be defending the AEW Continental Championship against Brody King. It was back at Grand Slam that Kazuchika Okada defended the Continental Championship against Buddy Matthews in his home country of Australia, getting the win there, and what I thought was a very damn good matchup. But in the process, Buddy got injured, so Okada can take the claim. They haven't really done that storyline of Okada kind of bragging about, like, he get injured, one of the Hounds of Hell, and that getting under the skin of Brody King. And it was more or less Okada getting interrupting a promo from Julia Hart and Brody King on Collision. And then after Julia Hart lost to Queen Aminata on Collision, it was Okada who attacked Brody and laid him out with the Rainmaker, thus setting up this matchup here. The two men were also involved in the main event on Dynamite, with Okada and Ricochet picking up the victory over Swerve and Brody King. And Brody King and Swerve made a great team for no reason at all. It was a lot of fun. But this matchup will be definitely hard hitting, and I think that it's going to exceed expectations with how much storyline has not been put into it. I think it will be a very good matchup. Maggie, who you got in this one? I think you're muted, Maggie.
I'm sorry, I keep coughing all the time and I'm muting my mic. So as I was saying, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks spoiled me when it comes to great matches that lack build. You know, that WrestleMania match that they had. So I kind of view this match as the hidden gem of the show, because they don't simply want to cheer for Brody. They want to bark with the guy. And I'm all here for this because so much meat, man. Give me the meat. Yes. And I've not been so on board with everything that Okada has been doing ever since he became champion. But because yes, it kind of feels like that they're killing time until All In and he faces Kenny Omega. This is because we know that this is what direction they're going with. it kind of feels like everything up to that point will be absolutely irrelevant. But this match is gonna hump nevertheless. Of course, Okada for the win. But I do hope that Brody gets the chance to shine in this match, and he will. And I just can't wait. Again, hidden gem.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of people talking about, we have Modest King who says, will Okada care? That's the question. Big Man Dog says, are we getting Kevin Nash Okada, Randy Orton Okada, or Japan Okada? J News, what have you thought about Okada's run in AEW so far, being such a big New Japan fan that I know you are, and what do you think about this match on Sunday?
Listen, man, as a person who just understands what happens sometimes when a person, a company, an organization hands you a large sum of money to do something or nothing at all, and you
Wow,
just
what's that like?
it's it's one of those things where sometimes it's you see it, you watch it, and you say to yourself, what else should I do? Let me amuse myself. And I feel like that's what Okada's been doing half the time, amusing himself. But at the same time, amusing others along the way, which I think has gone more or less well. In this instance, with this match with Brody King, to say something about the comment about what version of Okada we're gonna get. That first hard forearm shot we get from Brody King in this match is going to wake Okada up, and we're going to get one of those classic Okada bangers that we know that we can get. He won't be in there lying down with Brody King. I don't think anybody can, to be quite honest. He won't let you if we're saying the truth and whatnot. I love Brody, man. Brody's one of my dudes. I love to watch him anywhere I can. And him versus Okada, I know this is a big deal for him. One, it being in his hometown, and two, just because he's just a huge fan of Japanese wrestling, and he respects the talent so much and stuff like that. And his goal was always to go to New Japan, bro. It wasn't the WWE, it wasn't ROH, it wasn't AEW. He wanted to do Japan,
and this was his dream match. He said.
Yeah. So I don't think he's gonna let anybody down. I think this is gonna be a sleeper hit as well. Give me the strong style. I'm all for it. And yeah, man. I can't wait. It's one of the reasons why I had a high expectation going into the show overall, just because I don't think any of these matches outside of the tag match and the pre-show match are gonna be bad, man. I think that we're gonna get some high form of entertainment from each piece going into the show, and this match is one of them, man. So I'm looking forward to it. And Okada better not sleep, man, or else he's gonna go gonzo balls up, and he's gonna be a new Continental champion, which I doubt. But at the end of the day, we'll see a dope match though.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I think this will be good. Brody's genuinely connected with the audience, which will help the match a lot, because it will mean that no matter where this goes in the show, when Okada's in control, the people will actually be with Brody, right? So that will help. I think this is going to be used as like a little bit of a buffer between other matches, which is why I'm questioning I'm not sure about what version of Okada we'll get. We're talking about him like he's got like different video game characters, But I think it will still be good. Like, I think Brody will work very, very hard, and the people will be with him. So I expect it to be good. I don't really have any doubts about the finish. I'm not thrilled with like having the Hounds of Hell thing reset and going, okay, the first thing they'll do is both lose to Okada in singles matches is like bizarre to me. But whatever. I mean, it's a cool match for Brody, and hopefully they can get rolling as a team after this and beyond. But yeah, I got Okada for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with all of y'all. I think Okada gets the win. And what we've done here on True Hill Heat, or especially on AE Ramble, me and Jimmy talk about the Okada give a fuck scale. And we say he gives us a good to great match when he gets up to a 7 or higher. It goes 0 to 10. If he gets up to a 7, he's usually going to give us a good match. If he ticks up to an 8, it might be great. Ticks up to a 9, we're talking about a match of the year candidate. And we just got that at World's End. So I think that the sweet spot for this match is 7 to 8. If he gives us a 7 to 8, we're gonna have a strong match on this card here. So I think Okada, for the win. But now we got to get into the nitty gritty, guys. Like I said at the top of the show, there's 5 matches on this card that I think are gonna deliver. So we talked about one with MJF and Hangman, and now we're gonna talk about the other 4 that I was talking about earlier. And let's start off with the steel cage matchup. Will Ospreay going one-on-one with Kyle Fletcher. These two men have put on a trilogy of matches in AEW when they were both on the same side of the spectrum in the Don Callis family and United Empire back last year in March. Following last year's Revolution, they put on one of the best Dynamite matches of the year with Will Ospreay getting the win. Then Will and Kyle, they teamed up together, challenged the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles last September at Grand Slam, coming up short mainly because Will Ospreay didn't want to cheat, didn't want to use the Don Callis tactics of using the screwdriver, and that cost him in the end. And then it turned around just 1 month later. Kyle wanted to use the screwdriver against Will, hitting him with the screwdriver during his triple threat match with Ricochet and helping Konosuke Takeshita win the AEW International Championship, which set the stage for the former friends to clash at Full Gear, with Kyle Fletcher putting on a star-making performance and getting the win over Will in dominating fashion. They then faced in the semifinals of the Continental Classic in December at World's End, with Will picking up the win with a Styles Clash there to go to the finals. He came up short in the finals, but the rivalry continued from there. These two men clashed in the epic tag team matchup at Grand Slam, with Will and Kenny picking up the win over Fletcher and Takeshita. And now it all ends here in Los Angeles inside of a steel cage. This former friends, now bitter rivals, will finish it off, and Kyle Fletcher comes in with a lot of momentum after laying out Will on Dynamite, courtesy of the Don Callis family and courtesy of a huge brain buster through a steel cage. This is Will Ospreay's first American steel cage matchup, but the last time he was in a steel cage match was that ridiculously violent dog pound steel cage matchup last year in New Japan Pro Wrestling, his final match in Japan. So God knows what's going to happen here. Maggie, I already heard you making some noises that would make a lot of these versions watching a little bit uncomfortable. So what do you think about this match here?
Listen, it's really hard to understand which match will break my washing machine from washing all my underwear after it. Whether it will be this one or the Takeshita Omega match, I do not know. I will update you guys on Monday when I watch the show. And Jesus Christ, man, I kind of feel like Kyle Fletcher is the future of AEW, but this is the now. And I'm really torn who actually wins this match. I want it to be Will Ospreay because I always want Will Ospreay to win. It's just I've seen these two wrestle a bunch of times, and it's not a matter of will the match be good. No, it's about how good will the match be. So them being in a steel cage takes it up a notch or 5. So I know what to expect from both of them, but at the same time, I don't when it comes to this level of brutality towards one another. I'm looking forward to it, but because I'm not the biggest, hardcore fan the person, when it comes to wrestling, pure wrestling is my thing, like wraps and holds and, wrestling moves. So this is probably why I'm gonna count, the Omega and Takeshita match more. But Will Ospreay is able to sell me up on practically anything at this point. So I'm gonna pick Will Ospreay. But oh my God.
Oh my God! Yes, this is I've seen people say it in the chat. Like this, the floor for this matchup is probably 5 stars. I think it can get higher than that on a Dave Meltzer scale, especially. Joe, what do you think about this one? What have you thought about the build to the matchup, and who do you think wins on Sunday?
Yeah, this is probably my pick too for best match on the show. I think. I mean, these guys with their chemistry, with Ospreay's penchant for doing crazy stuff and bleeding a lot in a cage, right? Fletcher being honestly a revelation as a genuine heel, right? In the last few months has been incredible. I mean, he was very, very good before that, but I think he's become something different entirely now, which we've seen in their last couple matches. So this ticks all the boxes, and it's kind of hard to see. For me personally, I find it hard to see something beating this for my personal taste because I think you're going to get violence here. I think you are going to get a lot of blood, but I also think you're going to get a spectacle in terms of just thrills, right? I think there's going to be some wild moments and stunts and set pieces and so on and so forth. I think Ospreay needs to win. Fletcher, I agree with Fletcher being the future, but the now is important. I think Ospreay, you need to get the audience ready for him chasing the world title, I think the audience is desperate for Ospreay to be the guy. I'm not sure they're going to that. I think they should have been going to that for a long time now, to be honest with you, but whatever. Either way, I think he needs to win here and complete this feud with a victory. But I think the match will be incredible. To be honest, I think it'll be the best match on the show.
Greg's right. Forget about stars. This match is 6 panties.
6 panty changes. There we go.
Panties. There. I do not wear thongs, otherwise it will be 5 thongs. Perfect
description. Jake News, who you got? Ospreay and Fletcher. What do you think about I think it was Nicky Boy here in the chat who said he thinks that this is a sleeper for one of the best rivalries in AEW. I just think he's talking about in history, maybe.
I don't know. The Negro Buck's a friend, at the end of the day, so I'm not gonna rain on his parade, but at the end of the day, I would say that it is one of the things that has kept Will Ospreay relevant as a character on AEW TV has been this feud with Kyle Fletcher, outside of Will Ospreay just being the magical in-ring performer that he is, right? But from a character standpoint, this has kept Will relevant on TV. Kyle has grown leaps and bounds due to this, which has always been the added plus as a character. Kyle Fletcher has grown. This match, though, man, in a steel cage, though, it's like Joe said. It's like, bring on the high spots, bring on the violence. Like this, where are they going to take this? I don't know, because these two guys are they're off their rockers when it comes to putting matches together. And as long as they keep each other safe, that's really where I'm at with all this. As long as they keep each other safe, it's probably going to be the match of the night, just because they don't have a gear that is going to allow them to not make this match of the night, to be quite honest. That's the kind of wrestlers that they are. That's the kind of showmen that they are, really. They're always about go ahead and top this type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, especially it being in a cage, it's gonna be all types of reckless, and I welcome it. At the end of the day, who wins this though? Oh man, for posterity's sake, I want to say Will wins this, because Kyle's really been beating the piss out of Will the last 2 months. so I say Will wins this. I don't necessarily know where this puts Will in the landscape of like titles and stuff like that after the fact, but I feel like Will wins the match. And it continues the storyline of where if and where the United Empire comes back together somewhere down the line, right? We have Iffy Mark Davis on the side of the Don Callis family. Can Mark Davis get in Kyle Fletcher's ear enough to start getting him to bend type deal? Will there be other members of the United Empire to join AEW in the not so distant future? Things of that nature. So there's still that element of the storytelling aspect of it to go. But this match, I feel, will be one for the ages, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I expect this to be absolutely spectacular, but I agree with y'all. I think that to finish the feud, it has to be Will that gets the win and put him into position to go after a world title. And maybe we see Kyle Fletcher eventually win like the international TNT title, or maybe him and Mark Davis team back up to form Aussie Open and help out this tag team division. You never know. But there is probably one match on this show that also has a floor of 5 stars. And it's the match that Maggie mentioned earlier for the AEW
yes.
International Championship. Konosuke Takeshita defends against Kenny, by God, Omega. These two men have known each other for well over almost 2 decades, about at least 15 years. Back when Kenny was in DDT, his young boy, his young upstart that he was raising was a very skinny kid named Konosuke Takeshita. These two men crossed paths once again when Takeshita came to AEW, and Takeshita tried to help out Kenny in his war against the Blackpool Combat Club, but got hurt in the process of doing that. But when he returned, it came after Don Callis had turned his back on Kenny Omega, and he got into the ear of Konosuke Takeshita, causing Takeshita to turn on Kenny as well. This set up All in London, where Takeshita pinned Kenny Omega for the first time in a trios matchup. And then 1 week later, an instant classic in Chicago, Takeshita became the first man to ever beat Kenny Omega twice in 1 week. And then from there, Takeshita has gone on to bigger and better things, becoming 2-belt Takeshita this past January at Wrestle Dynasty after winning the International Championship against Will Ospreay and Ricochet in one of the Match of the Year candidates last year at Wrestle Dream. He won the Never Openweight Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling from Shingo Takagi at Wrestle Kingdom, successfully defended it against Tomohiro Ishii at Wrestle Dynasty, and all along, the Don Callis family had got back into the business of making Kenny Omega's life a living hell, as Kenny Omega made his return at World's End, and Don Callis tried to get in his face after, and Kenny said it's on site and went after Don, and this set up Kenny teaming up with another former Don Callis family associate, Will Ospreay, in the epic tag team matchup at Grand Slam, where Kenny pinned Konosuke Takeshita. And then Tony Khan just decided, hey, I got a few weeks to waste and not really build this matchup, just have some good matches. So he set up the International Championship Match Series, which saw Orange Cassidy beat Roderick Strong. But then that gave us Orange Cassidy versus Konosuke Takeshita in one of the best Dynamite matches of the year so far, with Takeshita defended against OC to set up Takeshita and Omega one final time for the International Championship. I thought the all-out match was one of the best matches I ever seen live. I expect this to be even better because Kenny Omega's coming off of that instant classic with Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Dynasty, the great tag team matchup at Grand Slam. We'll start with you, J News. Who do you think wins on Sunday?
This match should have happened at the Tokyo Dome. That's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, I'll settle for the Crypto.com arena. SP3, talk to the Lakers, for God's sakes. Can we change the name of the fucking arena? It's bullshit.
Hey, people pay a lot of money. It's still Staples to me. It's still the house that Kobe built to me. So.
Anyways, it's like you said, bro. Like, the floor of this match is 5 stars. The floor. That's like, it's saying something, you know. We don't expect anything less but greatness out of this match. But yet again, this is one of those matches, much like the Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay match, where it's like, what? Like, I'm not trying. The future aspect of it is, okay, if Take wins here, if he retains, what the fuck else is next? Like, he's gotta be the world champion, doesn't he? If he beats Kenny Omega for the 3rd time. Now, if Kenny wins and he becomes international champion, does Kenny go on an international run? Does he travel all over the world and become who he used to be? Does that happen? Because I feel like at this stage in Kenny's career, due to past health issues and everything else in between, it behooves Kenny to take time off in between matches and stuff, especially if he's going to be going 150% every match. You know what I'm saying? Which is more or less been the way he's been going ever since he came back during the Gabe Kidd match. He had that match there. I think he wrestled the night after, and then he took a couple of weeks off. Then he had the tag match. And then there's been since the tag or the post, whatever, when they did the moonsaults off the column thing.
Well, he hasn't. This is his first match since Grand Slam.
There you go.
This is going to be his first match.
Yeah. So there's that. So it's almost going to be a month since he had his last match. So he needs the time off in between for rest and recovery and things of that nature. So I'm not too sure about him winning this match, to be quite honest, and to be the champ in that sense. But I expect nothing but greatness out of this match. I expect to be gripped in emotion in this match because I don't know which way to go. I want to root for Take because he is great. I want to root for Kenny because he's great. But someone's got to win here, man. And I think Takeshita wins for the third time, man. And it continues that downward spiral of all these characters of the elite to hopefully find their way back to one another somewhere down the line. That's just me in my own headcanon. But yeah, I expect the match to be good, and I think Take wins for just because of Kenny's current bodily condition, to be quite honest. So
all right. It's totally fine. He did that against Gabe Kidd. He came back from the diverticulitis. It's okay he did that against Brian Cage, and it's okay if he was a little bit hurt in the Grand Slam matchup. I'm sick of all of this. Beat Kenny Omega. We got people in the chat saying, I'm really curious how Kenny's going to work this match. They shouldn't do an all-out bomb fest. Yes, they should. It's Konosuke Takeshita and Kenny Omega. These are two of the top 5 best wrestlers in the world. I don't want to see Kenny Omega being like, oh, my rib. Yeah, he can do that when he's selling, when he punches him, but he don't have to go 50 miles per hour. No, I want to see Kenny Omega at full capacity, putting on an instant classic. I don't need the same match he did against Gabe Kidd. I want to see something different against Konosuke Takeshita, and I expect that here. Kenny Omega's going to win this matchup, though, because we got to make the Intercontinental title at All Out. Maggie?
Listen, okay, roughly I have about 17 pairs of underwear. None of them will be dry. None of them. 0% dry pants. None of them. I'm so just Kenny Omega and Takeshita have a different level of in-ring psychology. And they're going to show it here. And I've been saying this every time I talk about Kenny Omega. For me, because I'm a huge tennis fan, for me, Kenny Omega is the Roger Federer of wrestling. And this is the huge honor that I will give to Kenny. Incredibly fluent at everything. And I kind of feel like at the end of the day, Takeshita needs to be the one to make Kenny Omega disappear into the sunset. It's not now, though, because I think Kenny Omega will win this match. For him to have a title when he faces Okada at All In Texas this year, and hopefully unify those championships. And what did Alex Pawlowski call because he didn't call it Intercontinental Championship.
The Continental title.
Continental Championship. There you go. That's the one they're going with. Yeah, too many belts. Just smush them together, and like you don't have storylines for 15% of those belts anyway. Just fucking mush those titles together. It's gonna make your life easier, and it'll make people stop bitching on the internet. So 2 for 2, okay?
And it makes them look like hypocrites because they never say that about WWE, who has more titles.
I kind of feel like they say that about WWE as well. I'm
not the same people. Maybe they do, but
no. Wait. Okay, so we can all agree that no one hates wrestling more than wrestling fans, but
Absolutely.
it's a whole different conversation. But yes, this is what I'm going with. Kenny Omega. Oh my god, just
Doing something. Yes.
it's I don't know what these blonde men are doing to me, but just stop it or marry me. Just one of the two. Just
Two options. You got to choose
two
one.
options.
Joe, who you got here?
I got Kenny Omega winning the wrestling match, and I think I don't know, man. What am I supposed to say after that? Come on. I think Kenny Omega is going to win a great professional wrestling match. I think, much to your chagrin, SP3, he is going to play the old man a little bit here because he likes doing it, I think. But it'll be great. I think it will be better than the Chicago match, which we were both at and was incredible. But I think, Takeshita in this role has had a lot more time to grow into it, right? And obviously, with the belt behind him and such, I think there's a confidence there with the way he started 2025. So I think it'll be incredible. I think he really needs to win in the sense that I just think it's too soon to be beating Kenny Omega. Like, he just came back, right? Like, that's the way I see it. But I think it will be, I got Fletcher and Ospreay locked in as my match tonight, but I think this is a very safe pick for the 2 seed.
Yeah, I think one or two, 1A, 1B, however you want to put it. These are the two matches that are going to deliver the most. But as far as emotional investment, storyline investment, a lot of you complimented MJF and Hangman Adam Page. To me, this has been the best build to AEW a Revolution, as you have Swerve Strickland going one-on-one with Ricochet for the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. It was back in the lead up to World's End. Ricochet and Swerve started interacting with one another, bringing up their past in CZW and Lucha Underground, with Swerve kind of trying to play Ricochet by calling him Trevor and pick on him as he was in the Continental Classic. Ricochet said he was going to do what Swerve couldn't do and win the Continental Classic. So when Ricochet lost in the semifinals to Kazuchika Okada, it was Swerve who came out and had all the fans throw toilet paper at Ricochet, embarrassing him, just like Rick Murray was embarrassed by on the episode of Degrassi before he came back to the school and shot everybody up. In similar fashion, Ricochet came back to AEW with a pair of gold scissors and stabbed Swerve in the head, bloodying him in an epic scene where Ricochet really snapped and started a new version of himself, a new character as this annoying nerd and dweeb who was just so cocky. And honestly, you said Hangman Adam Page is the best character in AEW. My favorite character in AEW right now is Ricochet. Ricochet has just transformed himself. I've never seen a transformation like this in AEW history of someone who was good at one thing in WWE and has totally flipped that on his head and become this great talker and character. And all the while, this set up a big matchup in Atlanta on February 5th on Dynamite, where Ricochet beat Swerve for the first time. Post-match, he pushed down Prince Nana and took his prestigious crown jewel embassy robe, the robe that was once worn proudly by the late great Jimmy Rave, which made things personal for Prince Nana, who asked Ricochet to give back his legacy, give him back the robe, but Ricochet laughed in his face and said that he wouldn't give it back to him. It led to Nana speaking to Tony Khan to get a Swerve one more opportunity, a rematch against Ricochet, who was very adamant that he had already won and he wasn't going to give Swerve another matchup, but he made this match for the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. And Ricochet accepted, but Prince Nana told Swerve that it's more about him getting back his legacy, fix his legacy. He's taken so many bullets for Swerve, and Swerve makes all of his rivalries so personal, but now this one is personal to Nana, so Swerve has to make things right, or else Prince Nana says he can't do this anymore. The two men had a contract signing where Ricochet tried to get under Swerve's skin, but Swerve did it back to Ricochet, saying the only things that he'll be famous this for after this match and after this show is for Swerve making him relevant for a little while and his ring announcing wife. It led to Ricochet trying to use the gold scissors on him again, but Swerve stabbed him in the head, bloodying him. But Ricochet got the last laugh using the Continental title to pick up a tag team victory over Swerve to end Dynamite this past week. Who will become the number one contender for the AEW World title? Maggie, what have you thought about this build up, this rivalry, and who do you think wins on Sunday?
Listen, first of all, I'm gonna start with the fact that I think that the robe is gone, man. Especially after Swerve used his scissors against Ricochet, and he was like, "Oh, the robe is getting modified," and I'm like, "Ooh!" And then he used the scissors, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that robe is gone, man." I hope Nana enjoys the lack of a robe from this day forward. It's initially I thought that Ricochet is gonna win this match, but I think it's Swerve. I think it's Swerve, and I don't know. It's just, man, I know that they're waiting for Darby to dethrone Moxley, and everyone knows my opinion of Darby. I am not the biggest Darby fan. Exactly the opposite. I do not get Darby. I get the hype and everything, but might as well be Swerve. If Omega wasn't getting mushed with Okada at All In, I was gonna push for Omega because Omega should be the one to dethrone Moxley. But at this point, please give it to Swerve. Okay, Swerve was a wonderful champion. Just give Swerve the win here, and let's move on from Moxley because oh my god, what a miss this was. It's I feel like Ricochet and Swerve will always make magic with one another because I feel like they were meant to wrestle forever in terms of this type of in ring. But like who Ricochet was the only one in the entire wrestling career of Swerve that figured that by protecting himself he can accidentally make a low blow from the Swerve stomp and then he can win the match. Just who else did that? No one. So just bravo to Ricochet for doing that, but Swerve wins here. This is another hidden gem on this pay-per-view card. Seriously, what a wonderful card apart from the main event. But what a wonderful and the Outrunners. But just Jesus, give that's Outrunners suck. Just wonderful pay-per-view. They should die forever.
Jesus, they knows. What do you have in this one?
I think that I'm going to say this before I talk about the match. I think that my experience on today's podcast has completely made me rethink how to approach podcasting going forward into the future. Thank you, Maggie. So that's all I got to say about that.
I am here to ruin everyone's opinion of podcasting.
Just a different perspective about how it is to approach this whole thing, man. I've been doing it wrong all these years, SP3. I've been doing it wrong. Yeah, let me get this out of the way because sometimes I do get into my feelings about certain things, but I'm going to get into my feelings here. For everyone out there who pissed on Ricochet, go ahead and jump off a fucking bridge. Go ahead and jump off a fucking bridge. Just because right now the man
Joe's like, how am I supposed to follow both of that?
What's happening on this show? You okay?
Just because the man is trolling the world and he is good at it right now, it makes all the difference. This is what we've been waiting for years from him, right? So I don't know if the robe is gone though, but I am prepared to see what kind of mockery he made of that robe. That's what I'm prepared to see, because it's going to obviously kill Nana in some way, right? It's going to up the stakes even more for this match. And to be quite honest, much like the Hangman Adam Page forever feud with Swerve, I think this becomes like a second line forever feud for Swerve as well with Ricochet. This is not going to end here. It'll end here for now, but it's not going to end here. This the embassy robe thing. This is going to play on forever, just because of whatever Ricochet decided to do with it. And I do agree that Swerve needs to win here, just so that AEW can course correct the AEW World Championship thing. I agree with that whole sentiment. I'm with that at this point. Swerve needs to get back into the picture. It's got to be Swerve. It's got to be Kenny. It's got to be one of the guys who are on top right now. They got to fix this. They've got to fix this, because the storyline itself, not the talents per se, but the storyline itself for whatever happened with the Death Rider stuff, it just didn't work. So they need to get somebody who's just somebody who's good right now. Somebody who's good right now. Right now. And Swerve's good right now, man. So I want to see Swerve win here. I don't necessarily. My only fear is how off the wall violent this can get if it does. You know, they've done the scissor thing, but I think with the introduction of how Ricochet initially responded to how Swerve bullied him, right, and trolled him in front of people, and he came out and the initial thing was let me bust him open with a scissor in his head. That was Ricochet's first move. Now Ricochet tasted his own blood, and it's like, what's he capable of doing now, type deal. So that's old. I think that can also be used for more character building for Ricochet in the sense, and I don't know how off the wall it can get. So I'm intrigued by that. But I feel that for the title picture scene, it's best for Swerve to win here, become the number one contender, and eventually get that championship back. Darby can come back next year and do his thing, because coming off the side of the mountain
Or not.
I mean,
Oh, come on.
That's plan. I
But
think
we can't wait for a guy who has a 40% chance of dying. Like, we can't do that. So, like, if this match was not for the number one contendership, I wanted to break people's hearts, because I've seen people in the chat say, "Oh, I don't want them to do it, but I think they might have Nana turn on Swerve and join with Ricochet." I was all for that like 2 weeks ago. Before the match was made for the number one contender, I wanted to break all your hearts and have Nana align with Ricochet. But honestly, Ricochet doesn't need Nana. He's so good in the role. So, and the fact that it's for the number one contendership, yeah, I got Swerve picking up the victory here.
I will say
Joe?
or not just for Darby and the championship. Of course I want him to live. I'm not that horrible. That horrible. I mean, I am sometimes towards kids, but like not towards, grown ass people.
Way better.
Fuck them kids. Suck a bag of dicks. But like grown ass people, no.
Yeah.
Joe.
This is a really aggressive show, guys. Like,
you got your fans in the chat. Let's say, I thought this show couldn't be more unhinged than an LNG preview. My goodness, LOL.
yeah, I'm like semi-retired. I'm stopping by, and everyone's yelling, and there's like death talk, and I mean, here you go. Maggie made the stance that she's only nice to adults, not kids, which was interesting, and But yeah, as for the wrestling match, Ricochet has been very good as a heel. I definitely agree, and I think it's been cool to see him kind of prove people wrong. Like there was a lot of people that just locked him in, so he'll be a babyface that loses good matches, and he's proven that wrong very quickly, right? He's found himself a clear role on the roster, and it's a big role, so he's one of the main heels in the whole promotion right now, which is awesome. And what's most impressive is he's working the ring. He's still doing a lot of the flashy stuff. He's just pairing it with a demeanor and an energy that's just incredibly unlikable, which is awesome, right? Like very kind of Young Bucks in that way. So yeah, I think this has all been very well done. Swerve has to win because he's been losing too much lately for a guy of his stature. Honestly, they need to protect him. I agree with everyone that I would love for him to win the belt at Dynasty. I just don't. I don't buy it, unfortunately. But I do think that would be the right play. I think Swerve to me was the kind of champion that like he's an ace, right? Him and Ospreay to me are 1A and 1B in that regard. So I think he'd be great to put a belt back on him. I don't think they will, but I do think he'll win here. But I think it'll be very, very good.
We got some love in the chat for Maggie. Dr. Chris Mueller, thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, I'm only here for the ratings draw known as Maggie. Indeed. And then we also got Chillin' with Chase, a message for Jay News. Thank you so much, Chillin' with Chase. He says, I was wrong about Ricochet. See,
That's right.
Chase is one of the good ones.
No. Take your $10, Chase. Take your $10 wherever you are. Wherever you are. There's a bridge near you, brother. There's a bridge near you.
What are you doing?
There's a bridge near you, brother. I'm not calling for your death. I'm just asking you to look over the edge, just so you can understand how close you can get. You know what I'm saying?
He sent the super chat as penance.
See, I give birth to stars here. I'm making stars on the show. You go, sweetie.
You're bringing the energy right out of Jay News.
Yeah.
I don't see him act like this unless he's talking about David Finlay. But let's talk about what should be the real main event on Sunday, a Hollywood ending. Timeless Toni Storm will defend the AEW Women's World Championship against Mariah May in the end of a trilogy, 18 months in the making. Back in Los Angeles in 2023 at Full Gear. That was the first time Mariah May was in the ring with Timeless Toni Storm, congratulating her on getting her third AEW Women's World Championship. She was by her side throughout that run, helping her along the way, every which way, until Mariah won the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament and won the number one contendership for the title, and then betrayed Timeless Toni Storm in one of the best women's wrestling angles I've ever seen, bloodying her, telling her to watch for the shoes, stabbing her in the head with a high heel, which set the stage for Mariah May to dethrone Timeless Toni Storm in our home country of England at All In London in a great matchup. Mariah May became the Glamour, the AEW Women's World Champion, and got cockier and cockier after every successful title defense against Willow Nightingale and Thunder Rosa and the like. But after she beat Mina Shirakawa at Winter Is Coming, a new version of Toni Storm, or an old version of Toni Storm, returned as the Rocker. And she was basically learning how to beat Mariah May with small packages, wins against the likes of Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie, until Toni Storm won the first ever Women's Casino Gauntlet, which got her opportunity at Grand Slam Australia. And she revealed that this was all an act all along. And she was always Timeless Toni Storm, with a great promo ahead of Grand Slam. And at that show in her home country of Australia, Toni won the title back with the small package. But Mariah May has finally become what she said she was during a lot of her reign, as she was the Glamour, but she kept calling herself the Woman from Hell. But this loss of the AEW Women's World Championship has brought that out of her. A more unhinged Mariah May attacked Toni Storm, gave her a Storm Zero on the ramp, and made the challenge for an Hollywood ending. And that sets the stage for their go home segment on Dynamite. One of the greatest 2-minute go home segments that you will ever see, where Mariah May spit in Toni Storm's face. Toni, totally calm, said that she's going to make her life dwindle to a life of obscurity. How she will be liked, but never loved. She will be remembered, but people will always be better than her. And that she would beat her at Revolution to start that process, while Mariah May is hell-bent on getting back the gold. This is the greatest women's story in AEW history. There is no way, I don't think there's any way, because, Toni, you've had 6 years, and it's the first time that you've gotten it so right. I don't think we're ever going to get a story as good as this one to main event, be the first ever pay-per-view main event. I know Maggie said earlier she felt like Grand Slam was a pay-per-view. It was not. It was just a TV special. We've seen women main event TV specials before. Ruby Soho and Britt Baker at the first Grand Slam. They main evented a TV special. It's not going to get better than this to main event a pay-per-view. So I will bully Tony Khan over the next couple of days to make him do it. I've started tagging you on Twitter and everything, Tony. Make the right decision, because Mariah May just attacked Toni Storm on the red carpet for the Queen of the Ring movie premiere. It doesn't get any better than this. Maggie, who do you think wins the Hollywood ending? Falls count anywhere. No DQ, no disqualification. Anything goes.
My mind is on Toni Storm. And yes, this is the legitimate pay-per-view main event, because God knows I give zero fucks about, the AEW title picture. And that is wow. Yeah, you say that this is the best women's storyline in AEW. That is a low bar, sweetie. An incredibly low bar. But
I saw it multiple times. I said it on the Fightful poster. I think it's one of the greatest women's rivalries of all time.
Yes. It was executed perfectly. Everything was great. I will beat you with my small package. Jesus. So good. Toni Storm is one of my favorites right now. Yes, Pray for Her is so good. And by the way, hats off to Renee Paquette, because she's been a gem in this entire feud. Exactly, she's done everything that she was supposed to do. I cannot wait to see this match. Hopefully it's the main event. Fingers crossed, god damn it. Toni Storm for the win.
Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I've also got Tony. I agree completely with the sentiment about main event. I think I was hesitant, and then we had a conversation on WrestlePeers about earlier this week, and it was hard to really come up with a good reason why it shouldn't main event when they also have the stipulation at their disposal, right? And they can go completely bonkers and bleed and do all sorts. And the fact that it's Mox and Cope opposite them makes it even easier to fight for them on this one, right? I think it is the right choice. I think Toni Storm, the timeless shtick is not always my favorite thing, but I think she's so good at it that it's she's undeniable, I think, in a lot of ways, right? You kind of just can't help but be swept up in her commitment to the role, her performance in the role. She's been tremendous. I'm really intrigued as to how good the match is. I'm very hopeful. I thought the Wembley match was really strong. Mariah is an interesting wrestler in that I think when you watch her work, there's a lot to like there, and a lot of stuff jumps off the page, right, in terms of the snap on her stuff. I don't know if she's necessarily translated that to great matches yet, so this is a real opportunity to do that, right, especially with that stipulation, with the build and all that comes with it. I'm very, very hopeful. I think that, they should be very proud of what they've done here, and I think Toni Storm wins to, give it that Hollywood ending. I do think there's room to be a little concerned about what Mariah does after this, because that could be a real issue, right? Especially in the women's division. The next thing is an issue. But for the most part, I'm very positive on the whole thing, and I hope they kill it. I do not think they're going to main event, but I think they should. Toni Storm keeps the belt.
Yeah, this needs to at least be later in the card if it's not going to main event. And I think they've done a good job of making her the woman from hell at the end of this rivalry, where that's the type of character that I can see breaking the tether from timeless Toni Storm. If she was still the glamour, I would be less confident, like you said, about what they're going to do with her after. But the fact that they've given her a new type of character to go with, I think she has a better chance than I did 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I got Toni getting this win as well to end this feud. J News.
I think, should I say my stance on this? There have been peaks and valleys to this storyline for me. It hasn't been completely perfect from my standpoint, but being that they are going to end it now and the way that they have been guiding towards ending this, I think has been really, really, really good. Like I said, that last segment that they had, that sit down segment that they had with Renee was probably some of the best AEW TV I've ever seen. Tony's ability and cadence to say those lines without breaking, right? And that sit down to me was this is next level for a wrestler. We got to put this shit into perspective, folks, right? These folks are on TV every week. They're not Hollywood actors, even though Toni is in a movie currently and things of that nature, but they're not, they're not classically trained actors and stuff like that. People break, people smile, they do different things. They might be nervous about certain things. What they were able to pull off there, going home to this match here at Revolution, I thought was excellent. And this time around, the match really does have to pay off. I agree with what some of the folks have been saying in the chat, that the matches that they've had haven't, it's not that they've been bad, but it's like they didn't live up to the hype of the storyline itself, right? What they created in story. So I feel like this match has to end in a way that makes it satisfying. Point blank, period. And these two young ladies have a chance to really do something for the AEW women's division that's never been done. And I think they have to make sure they take that into account and pull out all the stops that they can in order to finish this off in the best way possible. With that being said, Toni Storm does need to win here. I am also worried, like Joe is, as to what happens with Mariah May after this match. Because what Toni said in that promo is real. Like, after this match, if they continue to book the AEW women's division the way they have been booking it, people are going to ask whatever happened to Mariah May. Like, that's just the reality of it, right? Yeah. So unless she becomes another mainline character in the AEW women's division, then she's just going to get lost in the sauce, and that's just going to be sad. So I hope that after this match, they have good outlined plans for both of these ladies to continue on strong and just be headlining characters in the women's division going forward. But yeah, I think that Toni wins the match though.
We got LaRon Ford. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, Mariah attacked Toni last night on the red carpet at the Queen of the Ring premiere. Tony Khan would be crazy not to have that main event Revolution. We totally agree with that. And he also asks this with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, LaRon. He says, have they announced the Revolution main event? They kind of have, because all the graphics, everything for this show has indicated the main event on Sunday will be for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defends against Adam Copeland, aka the rated R superstar, Cope. Mox versus Cope. This has been Mox's big dream match ever since he signed with AEW. He wanted to do this matchup. He made his return at World's End and joined the fight with the FTR against the Death Riders, along with Switchblade Jay White. They faced the Death Riders at Grand Slam, where Cope was choked out by Jon Moxley. He's been the victim of plenty of beatdowns from the Death Riders, but he has gotten victories over the Death Riders as well, most notably at Fight for the Fallen. Rated FTR defeated the Death Riders, but now it's finally one-on-one, and in the lead up to the show, Cope, with the help of Jay White and Willow Nightingale, has taken out each member of the Death Riders on his way to the show. So who's going to win on Sunday? We'll start with you, Maggie, because I know you got to run quickly after this. Who you got?
Yeah, listen, nobody cares. Copeland gets screwed by Jay White. Jay White turns on Copeland. Moxley retains. I really, really wish we get to see a debut here, either it being Mike Bailey, Josh Alexander, because everyone from the Death Riders is gone, because Copeland and FT they took care of everyone. So they think that Moxley has no one, but we might get a debuting Josh Alexander, because I feel like he will fit like a glove in the Death Riders. But once again, nobody gives a flying hoot about this. Guys, please follow me on Twitter at Maggie_IK, on Instagram at Maggie.IK, and on Blue Sky at Maggie-IK. Join me right now on Fightful Overbooked for Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. We're going to talk for an hour about shenanigans. Also, please subscribe to Fightful Select, the easiest $6 you're ever going to get for wrestling news. A lot of scoops, a lot of contract news, rumor killers, questions, Q&As from Sean and Corey Brennan. Thank you guys so much. I adore this channel. Please, every time I have the opportunity, I will hop here. Genius, so wonderful talking to you. I hope I made you a heel from now on because
she influenced him. She gave him the poison.
He'll always do it better, Joe. I'm so glad I finally got to be on the stream with you guys. Have fun. I love everyone in the chat. You guys rule.
You will be getting the call for WrestleMania season. You already know, Maggie. And Dynasty.
But
bye, Maggie. Jay News, let's go to you next. Who you got here? Mox and Cope. There are a lot of factors like Maggie mentioned here. You got Jay White, who kind of teased that he's gonna have Cope's back. He was a good old boy type of promo that he cut. I was like, I thought Maggie popped back in, but a good old boy promo that he cut on Dynamite this past week. This kind of was like, if you know Switchblade, you're like, I don't know about that. There's also the specter of Christian Cage with his contract for the automatic AEW World Title. There's the specter of Willie Yuta was not taken out. He was just given respect by Cope and let walk away from his daddy. And Moxley said, "You keep walking," and then cut a rambling ass promo. Or the Death Riders may be healthy enough to come back on this show, or there may be a new Death Rider. I've heard people, like Maggie said, say Josh Alexander coming into the company and becoming a new member. Maybe a speedball Mike Bailey. Maybe it's Jack Perry making his return. What do you think? How does it all play out in this main event?
All I know is that this is going to be a wonky ass finish to this show. That's all I know. As per who wins here, due to the lack of interest in the Death Riders storyline over the last couple of months, and their as an AEW creatives focus to make this somewhat salvageable, I feel like it is only in their best interest to have the AEW championship on television instead of in a briefcase. So with that being said, it makes sense for Mox to lose this championship and then Cope win it, right? Not necessarily meaning that Cope walks away out of Revolution with the championship belt for all intents and purposes, right? In my head canon, it works out this way. After Cope beats Mox, Jay White comes out. He betrays Cope, right? He worked out some sort of a deal with Christian Cage. Christian Cage cashes in his contract, and Christian Cage's first defense somewhere down the line is against Jay White, and Jay White eventually becomes AEW World Champion, as he stated he would be when he got to AEW, because Jay White doesn't tell any lies at the end of the day. Never a prediction, always spoilers at the end of the day. So that's my headcanon there. Now, with Maggie saying that there's a possibility that we might get some debuts here, she then also stated that we would have to then continue the Death Rider storyline, right? Because if we get new members, that means the Death Rider storyline continues. I don't want it to continue. I need it to end, right? I need the Death Rider storyline to end. I have a feeling, right? Because she brought up Josh Alexander. There's been, quote unquote, I don't think Mark Davis was that other member of the Don Callis family that they were talking about when they put that into motion. I feel that's Josh Alexander. And if everyone else is right and I'm wrong, and Kenny wins his match against Takeshita, that might be the guy that they put in line, Canada versus Canada, to put that in line for Kenny's first feud, which I think would be fantastic. That's just my headcanon at the end of the day. But yeah, with this, it's going to be screwy, it's going to be wonky, but Cope wins. Christian cashes in, he wins, and Jay eventually gets that title shot, and he gets his win down the road. That's what I see. But this Death Rider shit needs to end. Is really more or less my thing. It just needs to end. And Wheeler Yuta is not. He's gonna play some sort of a role in this match, but I think it's more for like an emotional point in the match more than him getting physically involved with something. So that's that's all I got. That's all I got.
Joe, who do you got? Cope and Mox, and what have you thought about the build up here?
Yeah, I talked myself into the Christian thing because I just thought I thought it would be interesting, to be honest. Christian Cage like having a short reign where he moves the belt from one guy to another. It intrigued me, and I did talk myself into it. But I've begun to resign myself to. I think Moxley's just leaving with the belt here. To be honest with you, the more I've kind of the Swerve part of it, I think is the clue. I think Swerve's leaving this a number one contender, and I think it's him and Moxley at Dynasty. So that isn't very interesting, and I actually agree completely. Like I would rather it just end. In terms of the finish, I think it's going to be that Yuta hesitates, and then Jay White is the one that costs Copeland. He doesn't join the Death Riders, but he turns on Copeland or Cope. I will admit, as much as I don't have a ton of actual investment in the match, I am somewhat intrigued as to how the match goes, because I think there's a version of this that actually is quite good. I think it's a shorter version than what we're going to get. I think it's a very bloody version. I think there's, two ways this match can go. I think there's a long, drawn-out take on this pairing that could be quite, honestly, could really struggle in front of this crowd after so many matches. But I also think if they lean on brawling and bleed a lot, like I think they can absolutely kind of win people over with this. It could struggle for heat, I think, after so many big singles matches. Like this going on after 4 hours, So that part of it intrigues me. At this point, I'm fully expecting Moxley to just win with a shenanigan or two on the finish. To me, I would be fine with that if I thought Swerve was winning at Dynasty, but I do not. So that's the part of this. Like, for all the positives of AEW as of late, and there are a lot of them, I do find it hard to kind of look past. I wish we had more interest in the top set, in the main event scene. Because that ultimately, man, that's a big, like, it's one thing to just say, I'm into everything but the title scene. That's a big part of the show, So, it's going to be a challenge if they do persevere with this Moxley thing. I think it'd be a mistake, but we'll see.
Yeah, this Moxley Death Riders run has probably been the worst world title program in company history. And yes, this is a company that has had, let's go through it, Chris Jericho as their first ever champion, and that went ridiculously well, better than the rest of Chris Jericho's time in AEW or the last couple of years of Chris Jericho's time in AEW. You had the whole shenanigans from 2022 where Punk won the title and then jumped in the crowd and injured himself, and then they had to crown an interim champion. Then they had the 2-minute matchup on Dynamite where Moxley became the undisputed champion against Punk, only to lose the title 10 days later to Punk, only for Punk to do the brawl out and be suspended and drop the title, for them to do a tournament where Moxley won back the title again, only to drop it to MJF just 2 months later. All of that shenanigans. This is still worse than all of that. That says a lot. That says so much about how bad this Death Riders thing has worked out for them. So the best thing to do would be to just end it. And how you would do that is Cope wins, and then Switchblade turns on him, because Switchblade is a smart heel. So he knows, hey, I couldn't beat Moxley myself, so I'll let Cope do it. But I don't know if I could beat Cope, so let me take out Cope because I know I can beat Christian. And that sets up Christian cashing in, and we walk out with Christian as the world champion. We walk out with a Cope versus Switchblade rivalry, which is at the upper mid-card main event scene as well. And then you have Christian versus Swerve at Dynasty for the world title. That would make sense to me. That would be the best case scenario. But this is Tony Khan. You're not going to get the best case scenario. So what I think they're going to do is, yes, The best case scenario for a Moxley win, even if Moxley's gonna win, is to have a new member of the Death Riders. And the best option to be the new member of the Death Riders, regardless of what anybody says, it's probably Josh Alexander, because Josh Alexander would fit in with a guy like Claudio Castagnoli, with a guy like Pat. He's that type of wrestler. You don't have to make him the Josh Alexander that he was in TNA. You can make him a hired mercenary here for a while before you kind of shape up what he wants to be, but put him in there, let him make the save from Moxley, let him be in the main event program for a while. If you think that you're going to drive this on for a little while longer, honestly, I wish that Joe was right and that, yes, this is Moxley winning to set up Swerve winning the title from him at Dynasty, and I think that we would be on a much better trajectory for this, but no, I think this is just Moxley figuring out different ways to be Roman Reigns in 2023 without the 3 years of buildup that made him a great character that we were able to get over all his interference-filled main event matches. This feels more akin to like 1997, 1998 NWO main events at this point with the Death Riders. It's so bad.
We don't need that. We don't need that. Look, man, I'm going to say this because at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying. The likelihood of Tony Khan doing things in a way that satisfies everyone is unlikely, right? It's unlikely. And yes, maybe you should use one of Josh Alexander's many monikers. He's the walking weapon, right? At the end of the day. Yep. So it makes sense for him to be a part of the Death Riders. Just not here. End it. End it for the good of the freaking fan base. End it. At least the tie to the AEW championship. End that part of it, right? I need that part of it to end. Because if they want to take the Death Rider storyline elsewhere, that's fine. But they need to end the tie to the AEW championship within that storyline. That's my personal take of it all. Yeah, man. I mean, can we just do the Christian thing already? Didn't he win that damn contract at Last Revolution?
No, all in. All in.
Right. So you know, it's time. It's time.
I'm with you. It's time.
We all agree,
but I'm not convinced that Tony Khan gets this. Just like I'm not convinced he's gonna make the woman the main event. Like I just don't think there's particular things that I think that he is going to stay the course with this Death Riders thing until Darby Allin, who has a 40% chance of dying, comes back.
They need to let Darby rest and recover at least 6 months after his climb up that mountain, man. There's no way. There's just no way. Oh man, look, the ending of this pay-per-view is going to be the on-ramp point to the rest of AEW's year. It's just going to be that. And if they don't satisfy the crowd base, there's going to be hell to pay, I think. Because course correction that much later on in the year isn't going to matter. It's early enough on in the year now where if you do some course correction, things can go whatever way you want them to go, but at least it's early enough in the year for things to happen.
Yeah, I just don't think Tony is tapped in on the audience the way he thinks he is. If he was, then yes, we move the hell on from the Death Riders thing, because that is the main thing that is souring people on AEW. The AEW has so many great stories. We talked about a bunch of them on this show here. And then when you have the main event being this slog and this kind of go away heat that it has right now, it trickles down and it brings everything down overall on how people view AEW.
I think he knows fans are frustrated. I think this is a case of his loyalty to Moxley is kind of blinding him on this particular thing. You know, I think. And that's part of the challenge of being a booker for this long. And when you get, he's now 5 years in, right? So when you're that deep in, almost actually it's more. When you're that deep in, you're not booking decisions in a vacuum, right? Everything's like what you've promised a guy, what you've said to a guy, and it becomes. And I think that's a big part of this. I think Moxley had some frustrations, and I think his way of fixing that was giving him this. And I think he feels like he can't pull the rug out from under him, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to do that. Like Because this isn't, let's be real, this isn't good for Moxley either. This is doing a lot of damage to the way fans see Moxley, which is a shame because, I mean, good Moxley was like Mr. AEW for a while there.
He
right?
was like the GOAT before
Yeah.
this title reign started. He's the GOAT of AEW.
Right. Sometimes you just got to take a few steps, you know. You have to take a step back to take 5 steps forward, or whatever the hell the saying is. So I think that would be the right play here. Again, I agree. I think we're all on the same page as we want to happen here, right? Or at least some version of it. I just hope at least, if nothing else, the match packs a punch and feels like a main event. Because I do feel a little bad for Cope that, like, it feels like for factors somewhat out of his control, the perception of his run has changed very dramatically, you know? Like, I don't think he needs to be in the main events, but it feels like he came back and everyone was like, oh, enough with Adam Copeland. It's like, man, he was having a nice run there before he got hurt. So I would like for him to have a killer match at least, but we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about the match.
Yeah, this was not the storyline to bring Adam Copeland into the main event scene. It's a bad look already before he gets here, and then you add him in being a 50-year-old former WWE guy. It just makes it feel worse to a lot of fans.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Chilling with Chase with a great comment to finish us off, saying this title reign is like Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, in comparison to the rest of Moxley's run in AEW. I mean, yeah, the IWGP title run from last year was year 1 for Michael Jordan on the Wizards. This title reign has been year 2 of Michael Jordan on the Wizards, which was worse than year 1. But that brings us to a close on our AEW Revolution preview. I want to thank you guys so much, Joe, J News, and Maggie. This was probably the most fun that I've had for a pay-per-view preview in quite some time. I hope we didn't break Joe so much that he won't join us again and continue on the tradition of coming on for AEW previews. But I want to give Joe the floor first. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, Late Night Grin, Russell Pires. This man's everywhere making the bookings.
Yes. Late Night Grin is the main thing, folks. This was an adventure for sure. It was fun and nice to mix things up. Maggie is, my goodness, man, just brainbusters in the first minute, you know, like hardcore weaponry, all sorts. Less of that, the Late Night Grin, maybe there should be more of that, I don't know. But nonetheless, Late Night Grin, we've got a show tonight where we're looking the LNG Hall of Fame, which should be very cool. First time we've ever done that. And I have a show in about 10 minutes reviewing some wrestling matches. I'm reviewing Harper and Orton. I've got some TLC matches to cover. Things of that nature, but appreciate you letting me plug some stuff, brother. This was fun.
Oh, this was a blast. Thank you, Joe, for joining us today. J News, you know what you do. You got a podcast yourself. You come over here for the New Japan content. Now you're even doing AEW content. We appreciate you and the heel turn that you took on this show. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Well, folks, it's been a pleasure, as it always has been. After damn near dying earlier this week, it's good to be back amongst the living. Check out the Hit the Ropes podcast every Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your brother Jay News, along with the lovely Dolores. Check us out there as we review the week that was in professional wrestling. Everything that is either the major promotions and indie promotions at that. You can check me out here on the True Heel Heat channel every like week or two, depending as to whatever the New Japan schedule is, breaking down New Japan pro wrestling and the likes of it all. A quick note, we did not get a night 1 of the New Japan Cup earlier this morning due to issues with the ring.
We got a talk show though.
We got to talk. Yes. We did get a talk show out of it. So the fans were not let down in that estimation. So there's that. I gotta get my viewing back up. I gotta watch the 53rd anniversary show. Heard it was a good show overall. Get back to it. And you'll probably see me back in about a week or so to break down the New Japan Cup, review it along with SP3 and Sonal as we usually do. And then, I think we're going to be on our way to Windy City Riot and, everything else that happens throughout the year. Hopefully, I'll be back on for the AEW Revolution review because this preview was lots of fun, to say the least. Folks, remember one thing. This is all in jest. This is all about having fun with this stuff, man. Chase, I love you, brother. I don't want you to jump off a bridge. Don't think otherwise. It's all in good fun at the end of the day. So hopefully the show is a banger, man, on Sunday night. And whatever this go home show for Collision is going to be, hopefully that's another win for AEW Weekly Television as well. But yeah, that's as always, SP3. I appreciate you for letting me plug all my stuff. And yeah, thank you to everybody in the chat.
Yes, thank you guys for joining me today. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. We'll have some more content for you to enjoy here on the channel, as I did an exclusive interview with Bullet Club's own Robbie X this week. We talked about his shows in the UK, in Liverpool, coming up on Saturday. He'll also be Sunday. He'll be a part of the Burning Heart Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Title Tournament facing Donovan Dijak. So we talked about that match. We talked about him joining the Bullet Club, his tag team with Taji Ishimori. So that'll be dropping on the channel later today. Me and Sanal earlier this week did our New Japan Cup 2025 preview with our predictions that I'm sure our winner predictions will make J News very happy. Or not. And if you like your AEW content, check out AE Ramble 188. Pray for her, reviewing this past week's AEW Dynamite with myself and Jimmy Macaram. Me and Jimmy will be back together. I guess J News will be joining us Monday. We'll have our AEW Revolution review, so join us for that. I will be back with you live tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time on the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, the True Jaw Josh, and special guest Sat E. Nyangi of Wrestle Talk. It's a week of special guests, so join us for that tomorrow as well. And I will be live on the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment channel on Sunday with our Daredevil Born Again episodes 1 and 2 review, so join us for that also. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, J News. Thank you to Maggie. Thank you to all of you joining us in the chat. This has been our AEW Revolution 2025 preview. We are signing off until next time.